All right, it is 8:30, the time being appropriate. I will call to order the Public Work Services Committee for Tuesday, April 25th, 2017. Will please bow your heads for a quick invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning to do the people's business. We ask that every action we take and the words that we speak be good and just in your sight. Ask that you watch over those that watch over us. Thank you for the blessings of this nation, this great county, and the citizens that make it such a great place to live. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Let the record show that we have a full committee today, composing the quorum. Approval of the March 28th meetings next on the agenda. If I can get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Today's agenda, any adjustments to be made, gentlemen?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I believe we start off the morning with a presentation by Miss Jennifer Ann Simpson.
I have the opportunity now that we don't work providing postural adjustment out of alignment to prevent chronic pain with documentation that entails that I'm going to walk through it while I actually do that. Not like a regular that we start any type of exercise.
Ms. Simpson, is this just for informational purposes, or do you have business coming before the county soon, or? At the Evans Yoga. Gotcha. So you would be needing to request to have an operator's license for her to be in your facility, or you, as an independent mobile contractor, are looking for a license in it? Yes, Mr. Richardson?
Correct.
Yes.
I think that was also in the PUD amendment, was it not? So it's actually a zoning issue, because in the PUD amendment, we approved, or you approved, one massage place in that PUD.
Right. All right. Understood. Is there a clinical difference between the type of therapy that you're performing as opposed, I understand it has a different name, but is there? Okay. Right. Right. Does,
Your license doesn't.
right. Have you already approached staff about how to proceed with your application, or? Either Ms. Aaron or Andrew? Yes. I'm sorry.
So our massage definition,
Right.
have to request.
So would she need to do,
So essentially, her path forward is
a variance? Well,
ask for that condition massage to one.
okay. All right, thank you for explaining the remedy. All right, Ms. Simpson, so let us take this in, please, and I'll get with staff and we'll discuss exactly what we're going to do. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies.
Can I go ahead and break down?
By all means.
Okay.
You mind if we conduct business while you're doing that? All right. We'll move forward, gentlemen. Nothing on the consent agenda. We will move straight into the debate agenda under new business. Clayton.
Thank you, sir. On March the 30th, we received bids for our outfall sewer for the Little River Treatment Plant. Unfortunately, we only had one bidder. Wasn't particularly his discipline to do this type of work, but they put in a bid of $4,567,301. This is about twice of what we anticipate that work to be. I've talked a good bit with the engineers about it. We've talked with several contractors who have this particular discipline, and they said they were busy at the time and couldn't put in a bid. I mean, a lot of these guys, $2 million project isn't the kind of deals they usually go for. But in our conversations with him, we believe that if we rebid it, maybe take a little bit of a different approach. We're looking at maybe directional boring this job rather than digging and installing. We may be able to get back in line, but in the meantime, we request that we reject this bid and possibly rebid it at a later date.
Move for consent.
Second.
Moved.
Next item you have is for consideration is just two sewer easements, and these are sewers that were laid on the southeast corner of I-20, and we would recommend acceptance of these easements.
Move for consent.
Moved.
Next item you have is a property out at Westlake that's would like to build a 4-foot retaining wall at its highest point and encroaches on a sanitary sewer easement. They've initiated an encroachment agreement, and we would recommend acceptance of that encroachment agreement.
Move for consent.
Second.
And item 4.
The next one is similar over on Bartram Trail. They have, would like to build a pool and aprons going to spread out on the sewer easement by about 2 feet. And they've also signed off on an encroachment agreement, and we would recommend acceptance of that encroachment.
Move for consent.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Quick, management, who's handling it? Miss Leanne?
Morning. Not used to presenting from here.
Look over here, you popped right up.
Yeah. I asked to have this item placed on this committee due to the timing of the purchase with the fiscal year end coming up soon. This is a budgeted item for computer replacements. We did issue a bid for this and received 16 responses. Out of those responses, the one response that was the lowest bid that met specs was from Dilitex Incorporated. That was in the amount of $116,493.45. The budget for this item was actually $170,000, so we saved quite a bit with this bid. The staff is recommending to award bid number 1005 to Dilitex Inc. at the cost that it was mentioned.
Move for consent with a comment.
Second.
Yes, sir.
This company, they specialize in government type of work.
I'm not sure.
Oh, they had the state contract.
State contract. And what they're building,
Right, just for computers.
They're giving us laptops and desktops and
Right.
computers.
they're not building the,
And it says in here, one of their items, that they are the state contract vendor. The person they get their stuff from is a state contract vendor.
I thought they kind of specialized in government. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Move to consent. Development and Engineering Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This request is for an ancillary dwelling at 4361 Deerwood Lane. The applicant asked that we fast-track this, which is why it's before you today. Don't want to delay their permit too terribly long.
On that? Yeah.
So the situation here is that the applicant would like to construct a 6,500 square foot home on the property where there's an existing 3,400 square foot home. At some point, they will demolish part of that existing home out there, make it comply with our ancillary dwelling code. Until then, there's going to be a house larger than our code allows, requires this variance. Staff recommends approval.
Move for consent.
So moved. And the Columbia County Roadway Project, striping project.
This has been a budgeted item for our 2017 budget or 2016 budget. We had $300,000 for roadway striping at various projects. Staff's had to get a little bit creative. The prices are coming back so high, so we're having to get it to where we can get some bidders involved. Just not a lot of people that do this kind of work. But thanks to Randy and his staff, they've come up and got 3 bidders to do this, and this will be the first phase. We'll go back with a second phase after this is done. Very important project, and we probably need to start strategizing on how to address this issue long-term because there's just not a lot of companies that do this kind of work. Got a lot of rural roadways that really need this striping.
Do we currently have a rotation process and we just don't have a bidding process, or do we?
But we had a sort of a management for the thermoplastic to look at the striping and the signs on these rural roadways. Start getting raised pavement markers. Just not a lot of people that do it. And DOT's got so much work out there right now that we're actually lucky that one of the bidders actually was one doing the I-20 or I-520 project for them. But starting to squeeze it down, but a lot of these contractors can almost name their own price because there's not a lot of work out there. So much work out there.
We have been putting money in the budget for the last 3 years, and it's an ongoing process. It's included in next year's proposed budget to have money for this restriping. We've been trying to look at ways of getting more bang for our buck, as Steve mentioned. Like he said, it's tough to get anybody to come do this, specialized equipment. Not everybody has it.
And bringing a crew in-house is, having experience with that, that can be that's rough too. The equipment's so specialized and it's hard to keep up, and fleet has a difficult time keeping this thing on the road. But anyway, I like where we're at right now. I applaud Randy and them for getting us to the point where we can get something on the street. So, but like I said, we'll have another bid coming out next week.
Move for consent.
Second with a comment.
Yes, sir.
Living in the rural area, Randy, I really appreciate this. I noticed last Thursday with the heavy fog we had, it was very, very difficult.
Right.
Lines and the roads are, a little bit narrow, so doing this, and we can be even more aggressive with it.
And that's why we're supplementing with raised pavement markers. Add a little bit better view of them.
Good job, thank you.
Is this just a result of all that is happening throughout the state, as you say? Are we not seeing more contractors come to Georgia as a result of everything that's happening?
It's a lack of contractors plus a lot of work. This peak has traditionally been about the only one, and they do all of DOT's work, and you're trying to get them in, so you're hoping they're in the area when you do a bid. And 6-month contract, and they do it all in the last week.
Very, like I said, specialized equipment. This isn't actually paint. It's actually plastic. The machine's got to melt the plastic, apply it's very specialized equipment that if you don't do this every day, it's too expensive to do it yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. That moves to consent, and that is the end of new business. Do we have any legal matters, Mr. Driver? None? And staff reports?
Yes, sir. Just for your information, I have here our budget performance report, both on expenditures. We should be at about the 75% mark, and both expenditures and revenues, we are right where we need to be for the year. Glad to answer any questions you might have on that. Get the performance reports. Oh, okay, and then I have for your consideration performance on our extension and renewal projects and the activity thereof, as well as our daily and monthly work logs, showing where we're at with the quantity of work that we're performing for you. You would notice that water production is up and was really up right before we got this last rain. So the irrigation season is upon us.
Mr. Clay, would you mind giving a quick synopsis of the information you passed on to us yesterday regarding your rates?
Oh, on the rate.
Mhm.
Of course, we received that through the Georgia Association of Water Professionals, and it had a long list of folks who funded it, and the professional company that came in and did it, and pretty basically in every category, we were right below the median average for the state, which is a good place to be. So it's a good deal for our customers. I know sometimes in the summer times when they tend to use a lot more water than they had hoped to, it doesn't feel that way. But even at the higher consumption rates, and I was sorry to see that they didn't go even higher on some of their calculations. I would have loved to have seen those numbers as well. But already I think it showed that 54% of the utilities in the state are using increasing block rates. It is an effective tool for conservation. And it is one that has worked well for us over the years. So we're providing a good service at a good price for our customers.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Come in.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciated that too, although I couldn't download it at home.
Oh, okay. It was a lot.
But it was good information. Just looking at your work performances.
Yes, sir.
I noticed an increase in new service from 480 last month to 67 accounts, and then way down new installation, way up 586.
And when we say new installations, that could be just meter change out. And we're right in that season of getting out and changing out some meters. They're probably not broken, they just need replacing. And of course, we're doing a lot of replacing with our new technology through FlexNet, so that we can radio read those.
Right.
And I think that's what that number is showing.
They're all significant improvements.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments from public, commissioners, staff? Anybody want to say anything? All right. Following this meeting,
Move for adjournment.
we are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton.
Gentlemen.
We'll take a couple of minutes, pop out. So, talk among yourselves. Y'all ready? The powers that be are ready. Yeah. People who are really in charge are ready, so let's. Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Community Emergency Services Committee, April 25th, in the auditorium in Evans, Georgia. Had our invocation and our pledge to the flag. We have a full committee this morning, so we can conduct business. Gentlemen had a chance to look at the minutes from the previous meeting. Would appreciate recommendation for approval or correction.
Move to approve.
Second.
I think the agenda is in good shape.
Believe so, Mr. Chairman.
Have any presentations this morning? None? To my knowledge, there's nothing on the consent agenda, so we'll move to the debate. Start with community services.
Thank you. First item is a donation for animal services, $100 from Valletta Powell. Staff recommends approval to accept.
Move for consent.
Second.
Thank her for those. We appreciate that. Next.
This is the renewal of the contract with the Convention and Visitors Bureau for one additional year, expiring June 30th, 2018. Staff recommends approval.
Move to consent with a question. Are there any changes or adjustments to
No
previous?
changes.
It's a percentage, so the money changes from time to time, but it's a percentage.
But the contract's the same.
That's correct.
I believe that. Okay, that moves ahead. Next.
Renewal of the catering vendor agreement at the exhibition center with Silver Palm. Done an excellent job. Staff is pleased with what they've done. Business continues to grow out there. Revenues last year was just over 11,000 from our percentage cut from this. So we recommend approval of renewal of the contract.
Move for consent.
Second.
Okay, that moves ahead. Next item.
Another renewal of the ATM contract located throughout the county, at the library, Building C, Justice Center, Savannah Rapids, Evans Town Center Park, Patriots Park, and the Exhibition Center. That generates approximately $5,000 in revenue every year. Recommend approval of the renewal.
Move for consent.
Second. 5,000 a year?
Okay, that moves ahead. And the cottage lease agreement.
Cottage lease agreement with Russell Lloyd. He's been in there for several years now, maybe 4 or 5 years. Staff is pleased with the job he's done. He's happy with staying there, and so he before his shift he rides through the park, and after his shift he rides through it again. So, and he's first one called for an issue at Wildwood Park. So that's been a good arrangement. Recommend moving forward.
Move to consent.
Second.
And a comment, I keep getting compliments on Wildwood Park.
Good.
That's what that facility, boat ramps, top notch. Next.
Next item I'm going to let Jeff Osmond tell you about.
Morning, Jeff.
This is just a request from the state. We apply every year for FTA funding through the Georgia DOT. Every year they run about 6 months behind our fiscal year. They have had some necessary requests for, they had a vendor change, and so as a result, there needs to be an amendment to our agreement we signed last year.
This is just an amendment to reflect the new vendor
The new cost of the vehicles, yes,
cost. Okay.
that's the change.
Move for consent.
Second.
Okay. Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Osmond.
Item.
Last item is the renewal of the contract with PA Cooperative Extension. No changes in funding this year,
Move to
besides the basic adjustment, so we recommend approval.
consent.
Second.
Okay, that moves ahead. I think that concludes your section.
Yes, thank you.
Keith?
Thank you. The first one is the amendment to exercise our renewal option and also to change the term to match our fiscal year for the monitoring services. So they watch over our debris removal service, which we'll look at next, and we'd recommend approval on that.
Move for consent.
Second.
All right, next item.
This is for debris management. They'll actually remove the material in case of a disaster. It also, actually, no, that term is correct. We'd recommend renewing that option.
This is a continuation. It's not an extension, but it's a continuation. It's an amendment.
Correct. We're just exercising the option for the next term.
So it is an option of an
It's an
extension.
extension.
Okay. Move to consent.
Second.
All right, that moves ahead. I'll take this one. Board report.
DFAX.
Thanks.
You want to take that, Chief?
Sure. There are 2 board members for DFACs that are that need to be filled until their expiration. And So the chairman has recommended Sheila Wallman to fulfill the unexpired term of Dr. Charles Holloman, and the appointment of Colonel Gwen Fryer to fulfill the unexpired term of Captain J.C. Williams. Recommend approval.
Move to consent.
Second.
Okay. We have agreement with ambulance medical services. Go across.
Yes, sir. It's just some verbiage from the contract. After renewing that, we recommend changing some of the verbiage to match as far as some of the governmental agencies that have the appropriate oversight over the different aspects of the contract, and we'd recommend approval.
Move to consent.
Second.
Okay. Good job. Matters. Do have a few staff reports, fire services, I think.
Submitted for your information, we have fire response summary for the year so far, as well as for the month of March, as well as our year-to-date budget report. At 74%, approximately 75 at this time, so we're pleased with that, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Questions?
Thank you.
That it? Further comments, participation? Non-executive session? Passes allow us to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Notice. No names. Next month. Appling. We stand adjourned.
Wow, we're going back to Appling already? Has it been 2 meetings since we were in Appling last?
The quick quarter, I'll tell you that.
Are we moving it out of rotation?
Yeah, we're trying to confuse everybody. We're just gonna jump around.
No, I mean, seriously, don't we normally do Appling 2 meetings and Appling 2 meetings?
That's what we've done, yeah.